Well, a critical part of that long road ahead for Libya is the rebuilding of its oil production. And while Libyan output has been rising, our next guest is not convinced that Qaddafi's death means that the country's security problems are behind it. Well, joining us now is a senior geopolitical strategist for Barclays Capital Commodities Research, Helima Croft. Helima, always good to see you. Welcome to Street Smart. Break this down for us. We're not seeing a big move today in oil necessarily, and you sort of concur with the opinion, I suppose, that the market has, that this doesn't really change a lot of things.
No, I mean, in terms of the margins, it changes that, we may not have Qaddafi loyalists waging a fierce battle for control of the country. So maybe the security environment in that respect is a little bit better. Maybe companies can back into areas that Qaddafi loyalists had been sort of fighting in. But the broader question is what type of government emerges in Libya? And the concern I have is there's very little to unite these rebels except their dislike of Qaddafi. And with him gone, we have really big divisions within the rebel ranks between the more Western secular elements in the National Transitional Council and the more hardcore Islamists. And it's not clear who's going to come out on top. And we have around 10,000 shoulder-fired missiles missing from the Qaddafi weapon stockpiles. So you could be in for a very dicey security challenge over the next couple months.
And how will that impact getting oil production ramped back up to that 1.6 million barrels a day?
Well, we have about 400,000 back up online. And that's from areas that had been, relatively quiet, that had been under NTC control from the beginning of the uprising. The question is, can you have a security environment be stable so Western companies can bring back all of their workers, so you can repair the damage to the oil terminals, that you can repair the damage that's been done through looting and vandalism? And then the broader question is, if you have former regime elements remaining discontent, could you see new attacks on the oil facilities? So the security piece of the puzzle is absolutely crucial to getting Libyan production back up to the 1.6 million barrels a day.
So earlier, one of our reporters, Zara Burton, did an interesting look at the U.S. companies that could potentially stand to benefit from this and ramp production even further to maybe 3 million barrels a day. But you actually say French companies might be in there first.
Well, that's the sort of general presumption. The French were the first ones that came out in support of the National Transitional Council. They were the ones that really rallied the international community to get behind this rebel movement. So there is an assumption that if any country is going to be favored in the post-reconstruction process in Libya, it is likely to be to the French. It could be the British after the French. The Americans kind of led from behind in terms of the military campaign, so it's not obvious at the moment that the American companies will be the top beneficiaries of the new government in Libya after Qaddafi.
And Helima, I'm well aware that you don't forecast oil prices, but you do focus a lot on how geopolitical events are impacting sort of supply demand. Let's turn to Nigeria, because you say even if we do ramp up production in Libya and get back online at 1.6 million, Nigeria could be an issue where supply is concerned.
Absolutely, because Nigerian crude is a replacement product for the Libyan losages. So it's a light, sweet crude. And Nigeria is a country where we have seen big supply disruptions in the past. It's been relatively peaceful recently, but we're starting to see an uptick in violence in the oil region. Shell's declared force majeure on their Bonny exports. We had ExxonMobil having one of their ships attacked this week. And so if we start to see a ramp up in violence in the Nigerian oil sector, that could offset any gains that we see in terms of bringing back Libyan production. We've had situations before where 1 million barrels of Nigerian crude has been off the market because of militancy in the oil region. So we want to watch what happens in Nigeria very closely.
All right, Helima, we have to leave it there. Always appreciate your insight. Great to see you. That was Helima Croft, Barclays senior geopolitical strategist, joining us here on Street Smart with a look at Libyan oil production post Muammar Qaddafi.